This program is part of the Infinite Potato Alliance. Visit us at infinitepotato.com.
I'm Jared Stern. I think people should listen because we're desperate for attention right now.
I'm also Jared Stern. This is what I like to call an exercise in benign narcissism. And
You're Between Two Sterns.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Good to see you. A couple things we need to tell you about here on Between Two Sterns. For the regular listeners who are listening, who follow every single episode like you should.
And we know who you are because we're tracking your IP address.
We track everything.
Hi, John. Hi, Chris.
You may have noticed that an episode from our past has popped up as a new offering. That's because after 4 years of the podcast, but it's been 3 years since, almost 3 years since we put that particular podcast out.
Yes,
2.5 anyway. We got a copyright strike on of all episodes, the one where I was commemorating my father,
which is very difficult for Jared to have to relive emotionally, and we'll get to that in a second. But on a plus side, copyright people are finally tuning into the podcast.
That's right. Legal is really taking a notice.
Let's take the win where we can. We're starting to get noticed.
So anyway, we had to edit it and take out the part that was, copywritten.
The sentimental part at the end.
The end where we played the song in his memory.
The ending consisted of a very emotional episode, and one of my favorite most episodes, not because of the reason for the content, but just your level of vulnerability. And obviously this episode is like Rasputin. We talked about it recently about how we had to edit half of it out because I had no idea what you were going to talk about. But
now we got to edit the end of it. Yeah.
But the ending consists of a very emotional Jared. We had no idea how to end it, and I think I asked you a question, which was, what is his favorite song? And you said Motown, and we ended it with a Motown song as an homage to Stan. And some piece of shit AI, some empathy-less.
But here's the thing: it took them that long to find it.
Somebody had a quota they needed to meet.
I guess, I don't know. In any case, that's the reason why it's top of the queue on Spotify or wherever else you're listening. But that's another reason why we're banging out another episode real quick to get that back down the list.
Just like Jared's emotions.
We're going to stuff the emotions.
Stuff it right down.
We're going to
stuff it down like this episode.
With new stuff, we're going to take that and tamp that down.
Even if it tries to resurface itself, bury it down.
With the plunger and plunge it down. So that's what's going on with that. I will ask you first if what if anything you have before I dive into
I'm pretty good.
A couple miscellaneous items.
I'm not sick. I don't have anything
amazing
crazy going on. I think I'm pretty good.
Okay. And have you done any things or stuff?
Things or stuff? I know I have not done things or stuff, but things or stuff are coming up soon.
Okay.
So I'll have things and stuff to talk about.
That's fantastic. We thrive on things and stuff. I'm
going to be a part of the Boston Marathon coming up.
Well, you're going to be handing out cups of water or something?
I don't like to brag. Let's just say I'm going to be at the Boston Marathon, and somebody's going to be running it.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and I are both going to be at the Boston Marathon, and
you will both
running it.
You will both be at the finish line.
We will both be at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. The Boston Marathon's going to occur.
It is.
And as part of that occurrence will be both me and Rachel in capacities. Some the same, some different.
You know what? You're there in support of her, and so without you, how can she really be her best?
I can't imagine a sentence she would hate more than that. So I'm going to go back to my thing, which I know just skates the line.
Okay, well listen, I'm just trying to help.
We are both a part of Boston Marathon. Neither of us are a part of that sentence.
Gotcha. All right, well, good. In any case. So, so I've had a very busy comedic
Yeah.
couple of weeks.
What's going on with you?
Played a couple sold out shows at one at a winery and then one at a local brewery that had a
Cool.
really awesome stage. And then to cap things off and make sure that my humility was just right back to levels where it should be, I played an old folks home last night.
Did a nursing home, assisted living,
Yeah,
independent living.
Yeah, well, not. Here's the thing: there are obviously levels when it comes to people past a certain age and their living their choices for how much support they want in the Boston Marathon, and so a buddy of mine, Jeff Heisen, he basically called me up and said, "Hey, listen, I'm doing this show at the residences at Vantage Point," and so. And that could be anything. So you're right. It could be active elderly.
It's 100% independent and assisted living. I worked in this field for 4 years.
Okay.
I know the residences.
Well, I pulled up to this place, and it might as well have been a hospital.
That bad?
I mean, it had like the sliding doors, and there were lots of people in scrubs that were going in and out. I mean, the people who were at the show, very nice people, and yes, they seem to be living independently enough. They had a lot of activities going on at the residences. Our comedy show was just one choice for the evening. We were competing against the movie that was happening that night, which was The Brutalist. Are you familiar with The Brutalist?
I'm not familiar with The
Really?
Brutalist,
It was
no.
nominated for Best Picture
This year?
this year.
Not
starring Adrian Brody.
Oh, that one with that guy.
Yes, it's about a Holocaust survivor
Yum.
who becomes an architect.
Woof.
Hence the brutalist style of architecture.
Ah.
Anyway, the movie is 3.5 hours long with an intermission.
Did you perform during the intermission?
No. But we were the obvious choice to fall. If they were going to fall asleep to something, like it was going to be The Brutalist, so they might as well go to something that was a little more lively.
Did they have a choice of either one, or were you opening for The Brutalist?
No, we were playing at the same time.
So you're in a room. The TV.
No. Separate room. There's a separate movie theater area. We were in the quote auditorium, which was one of the finest conference rooms I've ever performed in.
Okay,
I've performed
that
in
makes
many.
sense. I wasn't sure if this was like a dueling piano situation.
Oh my God! I cannot imagine if The Brutalist was playing while we were performing. Thankfully, no. We were there as a counterbalance to The Brutalist, and thankfully, most people chose us.
That's good.
over that. And everyone there had a good time. They were quick enough on the uptake, and no one was horribly offended by anything that I said.
You had to be a little bit anxious about it, right?
Yeah. No, because you never really know what you're going to get.
Right.
Because there's levels of interest.
Yeah.
There's levels of hearing, and also just sometimes, like one of the guys in the front row, one of the elderly gentlemen, we were talking to him about the fact that The Brutalist was playing, and he said the following phrase to us, the following sentence. He said, "I don't watch fiction."
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's those kind of attitudes that also kind of permeate people of that age.
I didn't realize that we were reaching the point where people in that demographic were now under the impression it didn't happen. I thought we had a couple of generations to go.
No. He wasn't saying the Holocaust is fiction. The story is a fictional story.
Oh, it's not a real story.
No, it's not a real story. It's not. He's not saying. You thought? I
thought he was like,
no,
I don't watch fiction.
Yeah, no. He he didn't think the Holocaust was fiction.
Well, that's good.
Okay, yeah, that. Wow. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Wait, I was teeing something up. I just want to say.
Oh,
it really
please,
quickly.
go ahead.
Yeah, you got to be anxious about that because you went from 2 sold-out shows. I know you've been on an upswing with your comedy. The
Yeah.
last thing you want to do is kill at an old folks show.
yeah.
Right.
I've kind of run the gamut as far as like cool comedy shows, like the sold out show at the Vineyard. People were very drunk. They were wine drunk. And I was working with 4 of the best comics in the area. These people don't know what they got. And it was awesome. Really great hanging out with those guys. My show at the brewery at a place called Cult Classic in Stevensville, right across the Bay Bridge on the Eastern Shore. With a buddy of mine, Justin Schlegel, who is the morning guy at 98 Rock now. I've known him forever. He has a comedy special coming out on YouTube later this month. It's called Chaos Theory. Look out for that. But he's a force of nature on stage, and I love performing with him. And so I got a chance to do that, and that was a sold-out show, and everyone there, again, did not understand the breadth of talent that was in front of them. They were just there, also semi-drunk and there to have a good time. And to be fair, the people who were at the old folks' home probably didn't know what they were getting either. But they were there to have a good time, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I'll take anything at that point.
Yeah, exactly. They were just happy someone was there. Yeah. Someone came there to entertain them.
Yeah.
Someone came to visit, and I think that's what they're all looking for at that age.
A little upset. I feel like my hitting on somebody in the audience set probably would have gone really interesting.
Lead balloon,
at the old folks' home.
Apparently, though, at those old folks' home,
go on.
There's a lot going on there.
I'm aware.
So you could have done quite well.
Do you want to know what one of the biggest issues at old folks' homes are?
Condoms?
STDs,
yeah,
or STIs.
Yeah. Why aren't they called D's
They're not
anymore?
Diseases, they're infections.
Oh, okay.
Or issues, or
issues. Sexually transmitted issues.
Sexually transmitted installments.
Mm-hmm.
Issues.
Okay. So I had a very interesting, kind of bewildering encounter with. So, just speaking about generational differences,
yes.
Right? I understand that my life and my lived experience is not the same as younger people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that my lived experience with popular culture or whatever is superior, but all right. So Andrea went and we bought a new car over the because it's going to be tougher to do that in a little bit. So, but we were at the dealership. And I was wearing one of my favorite hoodies. And the hoodie says, Biff's Auto Detailing, Hill Valley, California.
Great hoodie.
Do you know what that reference is?
I like that your experience with me makes you question that even when I agree with you.
Uh-huh.
You agreed with me. Do you know what I'm talking about? Absolutely not. No, it's from Back to the Future.
Thank you very much. Okay. And a subtle, if not slightly obscure reference, if you're not familiar with the movie. Okay. So sitting at the desk for the sales guy, and he comes around the desk to interact with us the first time, and he says, "Hey, I see it says auto detailing on the back of your hoodie. You're gonna love what we did with the car." I let it slide because, like I said, it's a subtle reference.
How old was this gentleman?
He was probably in his mid-20s, I would say, conservatively in his mid-20s.
Okay.
So. It, like most auto transactions, it took for fucking ever. And so once we got done with the finance guy and we came back and they're getting the car ready, the guy comes back again and says, "So what kind of auto detailing do you do?" And I was like, "Well, listen, this isn't real. This is from a movie." I said, "It's called Back to the Future," and he said, "Is that a movie about detailing cars?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which means, A, he hasn't seen the movie, but also B, is not even fucking aware it exists or what is even, like, I have to question, how was this gentleman raised, and how have you avoided Back to the Future? I understand, it's an old movie. It's from 1985, I think, is when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it's, even though it's an old movie, it's been pretty ubiquitous in popular culture up through the future that is now past that they travel to. Like they travel to 2015. Yes, it was 1985 to 2015.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, so that's all past now.
Yes.
But how do you not know what Back to the Future is? What mindset puts somebody in a place where they are just completely unaware of something like that?
I mean, I think that it's a combination of just a saturated space and also the understanding that this dude was born in the 2000s.
I understand that.
But comfortably in the 2000s.
Sure.
At this point.
But, like, do you think he doesn't know what Star Wars is?
But they've continued to make Star Wars continue to be
relevant.
relevant.
There's a Back to the Future musical. They're
Yes.
still making Back to the Future stuff.
And I would argue to say that maybe, just maybe, he's not a musical guy.
Okay, very possibly. Not a musical
What I'm
guy.
saying is, I don't think you should take this unique situation at... I think if you had a Back to the Future t-shirt on or hoodie on,
Right.
maybe he might get the reference to the movie.
You know, I don't feel bad that he didn't get
Right.
the reference on the hoodie. I understand that. I get that. That's fine.
What you're
but
struggling with-
once I've revealed what it was from,
Yes.
he should have been, oh, Back to the Future. My parents liked that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
You know, something.
This is the problem when NPCs go off script. Like, I agree. His dialogue should have been better written in this simulation we're in that is designed only to frustrate and irritate us.
You know what? Maybe that's true. Maybe he was in fact an NPC. Wow.
This is a miss. This is a miss. Does the story conclude with you staying an additional 45 minutes to explain to him the whole plot of Back to the
No,
Future?
I was like, how? I was incredulous,
Right.
And I said, "Well, you've got to do yourself a favor and check it out." And he goes, "Can I stream it on YouTube?"
I mean,
is what
yes.
is what he said
Yeah.
to me. So I mean, but I just
Yes, at
I feel bad.
Stearns/YouTube.com.
Yeah, right. I feel bad that someone does not have that as part of their, like I said, lived experience. Like
It's just-
I feel like they are lacking.
I feel like what you're describing is so common. Because, like, have you ever read Moby Dick?
No, I've never
So-
read the whole, but I'm familiar with it.
Right.
I know it exists.
Right. But if somebody made it obscure, like, whatever the boat he used to go out, their yacht club, whatever.
Okay.
And you were like, oh, nice. Like, and they were like, oh, Moby Dick. You might be like, oh, I've heard of it, I've never read it.
Sure.
And they could have a similar reaction where it's like, it's like one of the greatest.
Sure.
And so, what I think you're talking about is there are certain classics that need to be watched just
Sure.
because they're classics. You know the whole thing about Back to the Future, right?
What particular whole thing about Back to the Future?
Who Biff was kind of designed around.
Oh, sure, totally. Well, especially in the second one, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
If we say it, are we also going to get flagged for... I know he's going after a lot of people at this point.
No, I mean at this point, I think it's been determined that Biff has the
Almanac.
almanac at this point. Like that's the only explanation
He had...
for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Obviously, I know that Donald Trump was who
Yeah.
Biff, Elder Biff, was designed after. Yeah. But yeah, that I was flummoxed. My flabber was gasted, and I feel bad for that person.
I get it. What kind of car did you get?
It was a Ford Bronco. They
brought it back.
That model has been making a comeback, and now they're all over the place.
Oh, they're rebooting old things, so...
Yes, exactly. And so it's not a white Ford Bronco, but it's a Bronco Sport, and that will now be our kind of road trip vehicle.
Okay.
And basically, Andrea, after she sold her car during the pandemic, when used cars were like super worth a ton because they weren't able, like there was that chip shortage, there was all kinds of stuff going on, and so she basically got what she financed for it, and it was a 2015. And so, no one was driving anywhere at that point, and so she sold it. But then we realized we needed to be a 2-car household because when I leave for the weekend on comedy gigs, she feels
of course.
She felt like she was.
And to your
being
point
limited.
with everything that's about to explode, just in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, now's the time to do it.
Now-
Literally, today or this weekend was the last moment to do it. pretty much.
Well, the car she got was not something that needed to be shipped in. It was on the lot, and so
Yeah.
it would not have been affected by any kind. Like, I feel like the tariffs are going to be affecting things that are being imported.
Totally, but there's still going to be high demand for the ones that are already on the lot.
Sure.
So inventory might get completely depleted.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really demand for Teslas right now. In any case, all right. So here's the other thing that that I had that I wanted to talk about. You don't watch a lot of TV, do you?
Depends upon what we're talking
I'm
about.
talking about like actual broadcast television with commercials.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't do commercials.
You don't do commercials.
I don't-
God bless you, sir. That's great. But so I do still watch terrestrial television, and there are a great preponderance of prescription medication commercials.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Sure. So you've got your Jardiance, you've got your Rinvoq, all sorts of stuff. Skyrizi. I don't know if you're familiar. Anyway,
Skyrizi sounds like a CBD THC cartridge.
could be anything. They just make these words up because it's easy to get website names.
Skyrizi, it's a sativa dominant hybrid.
Sure.
Yeah.
In any case, so there are certain celebrities that have kind of jumped on the train
okay.
for these ads, and I saw one the other day with Morgan Freeman. Mm-hmm. Morgan Freeman,
I remember him.
who has just did a Super Bowl commercial for Homes.com.
Yeah.
He's one of the he's the voice of God.
It's the voice of our generation.
He's the voice of our generation, and I'm worried he has gambling debts because not only was he voicing this commercial, he was also starring in it. And at the end of the commercial, it's an ad for a drug called Atrubi, is what it's called, and it's for it's a heart medication.
Sure.
And at the end, he's walking out of whatever building he'd been depicted in earlier in the commercial, and he says, "It's time to get busy living."
Isn't that the quote from Shawshank Redemption?
That's the fucking quote from Shawshank Redemption.
Isn't it time to get
It's-
time to get busy living or get busy,
Busy dying, yes. I just
Do you think he's subtly nodding at everyone that it's about to happen?
what I'm saying is, I feel like you don't see this from other actors. Like, thank God he wasn't shilling for a diarrhea medication and have to go Andy Dufresne, who crawled through a river of shit.
I think this is exactly what actors do. Like when fucking Alec Baldwin was doing Capital One commercials. He
Right.
wasn't playing Alec Baldwin. He was playing Jack Donaghy from 30 Rock.
I guess, no, but
you play your character to the whatever you're doing.
I feel like something like Shawshank Redemption, though,
Right.
is not something that you turn around and turn into a catchphrase for heart medication. It's like if James Earl Jones, God rest his soul, if James Earl Jones, another actor that we lend a certain amount of gravitas to,
Sure.
right? And I think that's what we do with Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
But another guy who was the voice of a voice of a generation. If he was doing ads for 23andMe, and find out who your grandfather is or something like that, that's like.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a
think-
bridge too far.
True, but mainly because their motto is Luke, we're bankrupt.
Yes, that too. By the way, can you imagine if you've sent your DNA to 23andMe and now they're fucking chapter 11? Really? You did 23andMe?
23andMe.
Oh.
That's the one I did.
So, all right. Well, I'm glad I brought
Whoops.
this up
Yeah.
anecdotally.
Yeah.
So what the fuck happens?
I don't know.
Because some clearinghouse is going to end up with your DNA.
Okay.
They could clone more Jared Sterns.
Good on them.
They could use it for anything.
Let them use it. Like, what am I going to do about it?
Is there a way you can remove yourself from their database?
I don't
You're not even remotely curious.
Not really.
Okay.
Even
Because
if I could request for them to remove me from it,
How would you know they had?
how would I know that they had?
They can send you back any spitty envelope.
Look at the reality we're living in. Nobody gives a fuck. Everything's being deregulated.
Oh my goodness.
The banks are being deregulated. Education is being deregulated. It
Sure.
doesn't. We're done. This whole species is done.
Wow. Jared, it's okay.
No. I'm good with it. I can see how it happened.
I had no idea that this was going to that we were going to get to the point where we're like, civilization's done.
I mean,
So-
I would love to hear someone tell me how we come back from I mean, we're like right on the edge, but once again, it's not like sane, rational people all stayed on the line of sanity. I still know people who are dug in on this bullshit, being like, no, this is good. This is exactly what we expected to have. We're all good with this. 23andMe is the least of my fucking problems.
Well, I mean, also Forever 21 also declared for Chapter 11, so that's just something that Alanis can sing about now.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. A lot of things in their 20s are dropping the ball. 23andMe, Forever 21, this mechanic at your car dealership.
Yeah, he has no idea what's happening.
Nothing.
But yeah, so that's like I feel like he has with all of his various roles, and where he has this level of import, this level of, like I said, like gravitas. Like I feel like he has a responsibility to not just kind of. I mean, money's money. God bless him. He's making money, so good for him. But
money is money, and let me tell you something. If tomorrow, Nabisco came to us and said, "Guys, we love your content.
yeah,
We would love to launch an Oreo campaign where we do double stuffing and we go between two sterns." The speed by which we would sell out.
We are not Morgan Freeman.
Wait. What? The point I'm making is like at a certain point.
We are waiting to sell out. Our goal is to sell out.
whole point is
Please come to us and ask us to sell out. Morgan Freeman his career spans decades.
True.
He's been in all kinds.
So your question is like, it's not selling out. You understand selling out. You accept selling out. Your issue is like, why is Morgan Freeman specifically? selling out?
I feel like
what happened to his money?
Yes. Does he have gambling debts? I'm really worried about him because, like, this is like when Robert De Niro did like a straight to Blu-ray or whatever, like movie about a cat or something like there are certain choices that some actors make that make me question why. Why do they need that money?
I think I can help you out here also.
Sure.
You remember that old folks home that you performed at?
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's expensive. Like, it's expensive to be in a shitty old folks home.
But I got to imagine he's got shitty old folks home money. I got to imagine he's got private nurse
That's
money.
what you need. You need that private nurse.
Private
that
nurse money.
and money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you go out early like Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah, that was tough. I saw an article that I was a little offended by.
Offended?
Yeah. First of all, he passed on April 1st, which then led me down a rabbit hole of being like, is Val Kilmer actually dead?
They wouldn't have announced if he was dead as an April Fool's joke.
I feel like they've announced other people before. But after realizing the article I read was true, and the reason why I questioned the article was because Val Kilmer, beloved actor, star of Batman.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's what you're going with? Yeah.
Between Tombstone and, I mean... Heat, The Saint. What was the one where he played from The Doors?
Oh, yeah. Well, I believe it was called The Doors.
The Door. I mean, such an amazing, incredible actor. And it took me a while to watch the new Top Gun Maverick, but what a great send-off for that character.
Yeah.
Like...
Something I did not realize, the voice was dubbed.
Yes. Yeah, it was. And that's why they used the machine for a lot of it. But
have you seen his the documentary?
About him?
Yeah.
No.
It's just called Val. And they put it together. So basically he, throughout his entire life, has been documenting himself. He's always had a camcorder or something going.
Interesting.
No matter what he's been doing, he's one of the he has documented a ton of his life. And one of the few good things that AI has been able to do, at least it was an early version of it, since he had lost his voice, what they did was they put all these recordings and all of that stuff through into AI, and he was able to narrate his own story with his voice, with his old voice.
Wow.
Yeah. It's very cool.
That's pretty cool.
Personally favorite Val Kilmer vehicle. I mean, Tombstone is the be-all and the end-all. It's one of the greatest westerns ever made, and he's one of the best characters in it. For me, though, Top Secret is...
Oh, wow. Deep cut.
Deep cut.
Yeah.
I think Top Secret might have been his first movie. I think. Or his first leading role, anyway.
Wow.
It is one of the funniest fucking movies of that kind. Like, there was Mel Brooks, who was making spoof movies like that, and then there was the Zucker brothers, who made Airplane and the like, and they also made Top Secret.
Oh, did they?
Yes, and it is so good.
Top Secret's good?
Top Secret. Have you not seen Top Secret?
I have not.
Oh, do yourself a favor. It is so good.
Can I stream it on YouTube? Hey everybody, thanks for sticking your ears between two sterns.
Please leave us a 5-star review, even if it's a sarcastic one.
Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Have an idea for the show, or are you also Jared Stern?
Shoot us an email. You can find links to everything at jaredstern.com.